that was what was in my mind at that time. But of course, the damage it's already been done, Miss Marsha. Even though I go back to an agent because I wouldn't feel right with what I have just done, then I will always go back and say, let me fix 1, 2, 3, let me fix this. But I would still feel the guilt and I was not happy with myself.
Did they find out?
We are women. It means that we are brave, strong, capable, unique. We are woman to woman.
Good afternoon, South Africa. Here we bring to you Woman to Woman. And it is becoming our time every Friday, Woman's Time, because we address what is important for you as women. Today, we will continue in our journey of getting wisdom from African proverbs. We are celebrating the African month throughout the world, and it is an opportunity to make known our culture, our principles, the beauty of Africa. So today, we will focus more on one area, that is work-related. However, this proverb can be tested in every area of your life. And I'm sure, even before we go to the end of the show, we will prove this proverb is true. Toko, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Miss Marcia, and good afternoon, everyone. Our proverb, as Miss Marcia said, it will be from Africa, but it comes all the way from Tanzania. And it goes like this. I'll say it in Swahili, then I'll translate it in English. In Swahili, it says, njia ya muongo ni fupi. Njia ya muongo ni fupi, meaning that the path of a liar is very short. Yes.
It's a very common proverb in Tanzania. And I think we can say with different versions throughout the world. Today, we will test it. But I guess you know the answer. Welcome to the show, Tembisa. It's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you.
And I thank you in anticipation for sharing your story.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone, from wherever you are watching. My name is Tembisa. I worked as a call center agent for many, many years. And in my journey, I gained a lot of experience and I was doing very well. I was always a top agent. I would receive awards. Things were going well for me. Up until I saw the need that I needed to change. I needed something different since I was a call center agent for almost 12 years. So because I had a desire to coach and develop others, then I took a position of being a leader in my call center.
What is not wrong to want to improve your life, to go to another level in your career, to develop. So you had that opportunity to do an application to become a manager, so to say.
Yes. And
it was quick answered?
It was because it was within the same company that I was working for. So because of my experience, they accepted my application and I got the position. Of course, to me, I thought that I will be interacting more with the agents, but it was not like that on the other side, because it was more of administrative work instead of me interacting with the agents.
So you were a people's person. You like to be in contact with people.
Yes.
And all of a sudden you had changes to the scope of your position.
Yes. And
let me ask you something. By that time, were you in the church already?
Yes, Miss Marsha, I was in the church, and I was in the church because even the position, when I got the position, it was through the chains of prayers. So when I got the position, I quickly realized that it was not what I expected.
Oh.
Yes.
So you went from what you were used to do, and all of a sudden you realized that what you have dreamed of a senior position, was not actually what you were prepared for.
Yes.
We prepared for you some tips on how to adjust yourself to different positions, to change in the scope of your work, especially when it comes with more responsibility. Let us watch together.
Tips on how to adapt to changes of a new position. One should get exposed to the work they will be responsible for in the new role. Accept the change. Understanding that change is a natural part of life, both in and outside of the workplace. When you enter into a new environment or position, remind yourself that many of the best opportunities in life show up when you are open to change. Stay positive. Regardless of what group, department, or company you are in, remember why you are there in the first place. Don't look at the current circumstances, rather, look forward to the end results that you are aiming for. Focus on what you can control. Allow yourself to be focused on the tasks and responsibilities you have complete control over. Ask yourself what you can achieve today and focus on the problem or project one piece at a time. Wanting too much might become beyond your limits. Set new goals. Setting a new goal can help to renew your purpose and give you clarity of focus when circumstances are changing at work. Look for new ideas, submit yours on time, and meet your deadlines. Build relationships. Take the time to connect with your new colleagues and build strong relationships with them. If you're in a higher position, make sure to take care of your team. And those are the tips on how to adapt to the changes of a new position.
So what my challenge was that I had to keep up with the pace as if I'm coping, even though it was difficult for me.
So let me understand. You were the manager of a team.
Yes.
But you had other managers and other teams.
Yes.
And all of you had to show a level of performance. Yes. That's what I understand from the evaluations in the workplace. Yes. There is a target, there is a level of performance.
Yes.
And you saw yourself not performing as expected.
Yes. And for me, not performing as expected.
What would be the delays you would have, or the problems, the setbacks you faced?
The setbacks will be not submitting the task on time, not meeting my deadlines. And of course, you find that when all of this is required, we are all in the same room. And you find that I'm the only one who always says that, can you give me more time? I'm behind. And it started looking bad because others are always delivering on time. And with me, I'm always asking
Giving
for
excuses.
extension. Yes.
Yeah.
Did you were reprimanded or warned because you were delayed?
No, I wasn't, but I could see that, I was not gonna be the favorite if I'm always. I thought I appeared as if I'm not coping. So I wanted to be the same as others.
So in other words, it's like you wanted something more, but that more became too much for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Became too much for me to a point that I even got advices that I would say maybe they were not right for me because at the end I saw that what I did was not right.
What kind of advices? Would you get advices from other managers, people at the same level of work that you had, same responsibility?
No, people with the same level, with the same responsibility.
And what were the advice?
one will be like, you know how maybe we're given a task, where there was a time where we were given a task, and I had to listen to a certain number of calls. It happens every month. I have, as a leader, I have to listen to a certain number of calls, evaluate, assess, and send, provide my findings. And I would always, when I started, I would always be late to provide feedback. But then one of my colleagues told me, you know what, this is how you do it. Let me show you. He showed me, of which it was a shortcut, if I can put it like that. And
what was the shortcut?
You just fast forward the call.
Oh.
At sometimes you get the call from another department. It's already assessed, Ms. Marsha. Everything is there. But you as a leader, you also need to do your findings. So I will just take what it's already been done by another department, copy, paste, and fast forward through the call and give a positive report or a negative report. To me, it will be based on if I know this specific individual, if this individual always gets a high score when they assess the calls. So I will just go according to that.
So you would take for granted, and if there was a problem in a particular call, you would not notice because you were
I
just...
wouldn't, because I didn't listen to
Did
the
you
call.
feel like when you asked for an advice, the person who advised you wrong on purpose because of jealous, or they were just doing it?
Not on purpose. It was something that was done. Yeah, it was something that was normal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
So you started doing that, and how did it impact your work?
With this one of listening to calls, when the person was showing me, it looked okay because, okay, fine, I'm going to get done quickly. But then I went home and I started doing it. And a voice came to me to say, you don't have to do it like this. But because of the workload that I have in front of me, I opted to do it.
So the pressure propelled you to do that, to go on with that, though you were feeling like it's not the right thing to do.
Yes.
What else did you do? That was a particular task with your audios. What else did you do because you were under pressure?
You see, when lockdown came, I started working from home. So, of course, I'm leading a team now from home, and my agents are working from home as well. One day I had a discussion with an agent, and before, when I have a discussion with the agent, I have to document it and let the agent sign immediately. But on that day, I was pulled out of the one-on-one session that I was having with the agent, and I did not document the discussion. Of course, now the documents I needed to submit to my boss, and I didn't have the signature of the agent on that discussion that we had. So when I phoned the agent is nowhere to be found, and my boss wants me to submit. Most of the time, when we are doing when we are working from home, you will do electronic signature.
Yeah.
Yes, and sometimes a person will say, "Just put my initials there, and it's fine it's fine with me." So for me, I just went and put the initials of this specific individual and submitted.
But this individual did not ask you to do that.
No.
It was you who deliberately said, I'm going to fix the situation and do it.
Yes.
Because it is different when the person says, no, you can please do it. During COVID, we have experienced a great change in the way that we worked. So some of the procedures had to be waived or replaced by electronic signatures. However, there was still that level of consent.
Yes.
And you overrode his consent, and you added this individual's initials to the report.
Yes, the agent didn't give consent for me to go ahead and put the initials, even though I go back to an agent because I wouldn't feel right with what I have just done. Then I will always go back and say, let me fix 1, 2, 3, let me fix this. But I would still feel the guilt and I was not happy with myself.
Did they find out what you did,
No.
or it was just your conscience that was heavy on you?
It was my conscience. It will be, the guilt will be overwhelming. Yes.
I think also because you were in the church already.
Yes.
So you felt like I did wrong and this is not the right thing for me to do.
My mind was sober when I was doing it.
Yes.
I knew what was right, what was wrong. But
you
no one
chose
forced me, but I will choose
to
do it.
Now, how would you look? Because before you were struggling,
Yes.
you were always delayed.
Yes.
Because we know there are staff meetings, group coordinators, and everyone will give a report of what they're doing, how far they are. And in the beginning, you were always behind.
Yes.
But now, using these gimmicks, how was your image before the others?
No, we are all now on the same level. Because when they say, someone says, no, everything is covered on my site, everything is covered. So I will also say everything is covered and I will look good. Yes, I will appear as if, yes, I'm coping and I'm performing at the same level as others.
What other challenges did you have that they didn't know of, but you were trying to cover up and do just for the sake of having that good image?
You know, just to go back to that one of assessing the calls. So it happened that one of my agents committed fraud. And funny enough, it was one of the calls that I said I assessed and I gave a positive report. When that call came back, I had to listen to it. When I listened to it, I checked on my folder and I saw that I have submitted this call and I said this call was a good call.
Now you were in
But now
trouble.
it's picked, yes, I was in trouble. But no one saw that I had already submitted the call, but I saw it and I knew this, it can get me into trouble. I did assess the call and I did it in a right way this time and I gave my feedback, and from there, that's when I said, I'm not going to do this anymore.
You were scared
I was very scared.
because you knew it could have consequences.
Yes, if they can go back and check the calls that I have submitted and pick that I have given a positive report about this one, and now it comes from the quality assurance department to say that
Something was wrong.
something was wrong.
This is the moral dilemma that you might go through in every area of your life, because there is always an easy way to escape the situation. If we say a little lie, or if we don't do what we were supposed to do, or if we use a shortcut. Today we are putting our focus and eyes on work-related matters. But you know, as a matter of fact, the same can happen in family, the same can happen in church, the same can happen in every area of your life. And that dilemma, that conflict between the right and the wrong, and of course, knowing that maybe doing the right thing, your image will not be as celebrated as doing the wrong, is what brings that concept. So, Tembisa, from one side, now you could go to the meeting and say, always is right with me. I've taken care of everything. But inside, you had that big conflict. I got it done, but in the wrong way.
Yes.
Did it affect your spiritual life?
It affected me big time, Miss Marcia, because at the beginning, when I started with the dishonesty, I would quickly go every day, I will pray to my God and ask for forgiveness. And I will feel bad about it and promise that I will never do it again. But when I go back to my work, the same thing happens. So it became a habit for me, yes.
So, in other words, though you would pray, but you will still continue going back to do the wrong thing, as you say that it became habitual now.
Yes.
So there are many people who are like this, Miss Marcia, like they ask for forgiveness from God. God has forgiven me. Then they go back. So I think with you, it became a habit in such a way that even if I pray, I believe that I'm forgiven, but I'll do something else.
Yes.
This is what we call to be desensitized to what is wrong. Because as you start doing it and it becomes a habit, it doesn't seem so wrong as in the beginning.
Yes.
And this is where people get lost, because now they lost touch with what is wrong. That is what happens when they have an affair, a one night. But then it continues. Now it's no longer wrong, and the problem is not what they are doing, but the problem is the partner, is the marriage. They are not happy in the marriage. Or the problem is not the wrong that you are doing. The problem is it's too much work. It's too much pressure.
Yes.
So you see the values are inverted. That could have ended very badly. We will hear how it unfolded, but now we have invited an HR manager, and he will talk about the consequences of such actions, what should you do in such situations, and other morality issues in the workplace where this moral dilemma comes about. Shall we watch together?
After the break,
my name is Pietri Kleinans. A brief introduction about myself is I've got over 20 years of experience in general management. I'm passionate working with people. I'm currently the HR manager for UCKG South Africa. So what my role entails is there's definitely an operational element to my HR role which I enjoy.
what are the challenges in the workplace that mainly affect women?
I think the starting point here, or the departure point, should be to notice that the workplace for women, especially over the last 20 years, has definitely improved, but there's still room for improvement. The first thing I want to talk about is work-life balance for women specifically. So what you find is women has got the responsibility of their professional careers at work, but they also got the additional responsibilities of caregiving and things they need to do around the house as well. So let me use an example. You've got women that work in the retail and hospitality sector. Those individuals work very odd hours. They go to work very early, come home very late. So obviously that puts additional pressure on them to perform at work and also to be responsible for what they need to do at the house. The next thing I want to talk about is this doesn't happen in a workplace per se, but gender-based violence, the consequences of gender-based violence in relation to people that actually suffer because of that has got very low self-confidence. And low self-confidence in the workplace is detrimental to individuals moving forward. So what you find is that these individuals, they stagnate in their roles. They don't really get promoted or put in leadership positions because they've got so much to deal with intrinsically.
What are the challenges faced by employees that could lead them to resort to dishonesty?
When people tell, if you want to call it little lies, they don't want to get in trouble. They want to avoid conflict and they don't want to admit their mistakes. So I think that's the first thing. Obviously, when there's gross dishonesty, that needs to be dealt with. But reasons for that could be low staff morale. People or the employees aren't really aligned to the organization's values and principles, and therefore they resort to acts of dishonesty. What is very important is that that type of behavior must be dealt with in a consistent and fair manner, because that will potentially mitigate risk of dishonesty going further.
What are the consequences for dishonesty in the workplace?
Unfortunately, people will disappoint us, and it's no different in the workplace. These things do happen, but it's how we deal with these things and what culture is there within an organization. So if there's a culture in an organization where rules are enforced and there's a clear zone of consequence for dishonesty, false reporting, and all of these things, then you can mitigate the risk to a certain extent. But unfortunately, these things do happen and it must be dealt with. So yeah, that's basically when it comes down to dishonesty.
How important is a reference letter from a previous employer? And if they were fired due to a moral issue, how likely is it they will be hired in the next company?
Look, the referencing process as part of the recruitment process is very important. So what happens there is the recruiter tries to get as much information on the prospective employee as possible. An employer has the right to give a negative reference on a staff member, just as long as it's fair and it's consistent and it's based on facts and it's in good faith. What you'll find is a bad reference creates doubt in the recruiter's mind. And like any relationship, if there's doubt, that relationship is off to a shaky start. So a bad reference can have a negative impact on a job application and potentially result in that employee not getting that role that he or she applied for. But just to tell the people out there that if you've got a bad reference, it's not the end of the world. If you really learn from your mistake, my advice would be try and get as many positive references going forward to counterbalance the one negative reference that you might have.
What can a person do when they are not coping with the amount of work given in their position? How can the company assist the individual without them being demoted or fired?
So in this scenario, I think there are three buckets of classification in this scenario. The first scenario is, let's say you've got new employees. They might not cope because they're new to the environment, they're new to their job function. What needs to happen in this type of scenarios, in the probation period, there should be regular feedback to new employees. What they're doing well, what's areas for development, what training needs might be identified, and what's the expectations going forward. That will remedy the scenario with regards to new employees. The second bucket of classification, I would say, is existing employees. There might be a reason that for some reason they don't cope. And those could be reasons like there might be structural changes in organization. The organization might go through extreme change. And due to these changes, the employee needs to do new tasks, or there's new strategies or way of doing things. What needs to happen in this type of scenario is there must be regular meetings with the direct line manager, feedback must be given, training and development needs must be identified, and expectations must be set on expected standards. And the last bucket of classification would be you've got existing employees and for some reason they just don't perform and they don't get through the workload. Sometimes that could be because of personal reasons. There might be a death in the family, there might be an illness. It's very important that this employee that falls in this category be open with his or her direct line manager and see how the company can assist them to go through that period of time. But if there's continued underperformance, when all of these avenues are explored, there is a formal process to deal with underperformance, and obviously that should then be explored.
Other morality issues such as harassment, discrimination, and corruption, how do they affect the workplace and how bad is it for women?
Unfortunately, these things do still happen. It's very important that there must be a structured process to deal with these things in the workplace. There must be a code of conduct, there must be a grievance process where employees can use these systems that's in place to actually deal with these matters. But it's very important if allegations of this nature is brought forward, it should be investigated thoroughly, the facts must be gathered. And generally, this type of allegation or complaint are dealt in two ways, informally and formally. On an informal level, the two parties meet and it's resolved. But if it's not resolved, it's very serious, then it's a more formal approach where the disciplinary process can be followed and a fair and effective sanction can be reached to deal with this matter. Sexual harassment, unfortunately, it's more prevalent with regards to ladies. But there are instances, not as much, but there are instances where men are also subject to this victimization. Also important to remember that the Labour Relations Act, the Code of Good Practice, actually has got a whole section that defines discrimination and how to deal with discrimination and what's the expected standards in the workplace. And that should form the bedrock of any organization. And then a supplement to that is the culture and how these type of matters are dealt with effectively to ensure that the workplace has a respectful element to all employees.
Thank you very much, Pietri, for your insight. And I think it will be very useful to those who maybe are finding themselves in the same situation that Tembisa was. Now, Tembisa, we have a question. We are curious about that. Were you caught?
No, I was never caught.
Yeah.
I was never caught, but thank God, because I changed before. I realized my wrongdoings before I got caught.
Mm-hmm. What was your wake-up moment? That things could have gone so bad as our HR manager has briefed us.
My worst moment was that call that I did not assess, and it came back as it was now a query, it was a complaint, and I had to address it. And I saw that if I could have done in the right way, this could have never happened. And that's where I said, I'm no longer going to do this. If it takes the long way, if I appear as if I'm not coping with the workload, then let it be.
Even if you had to work extra hours, but to do it in the proper way, you were prepared for that.
Ms. Masha, I even went back and listened to this agent's call back to 3 months, because I just wanted to do the things right, to see if there's more damage that he did besides this one specific call. So I started doing that. I would work until late. I would work on weekends, trying to make sure that I deliver the correct report.
Now, did this whole situation impact your work relations while you were doing it in the wrong way? How was your interaction with those who were under your team?
It impacted me, Ms. Masha, because if I can just share this, there was one time that I was addressing this agent, and this agent he started speaking loud. He started shouting when he's answering me.
Yeah.
And we are talking, remember, I'm at home,
Yeah.
he's in the
He's
office.
in the office, yeah.
We are talking on Teams. The office is full. I'm alone in the house.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what was happening on the other side.
Yes.
Now, when I was also, the managers are there. Everyone is there in the office. So when he was raising his voice, I also raised my voice. But after that, while I was talking to this agent, my boss sent me a message to say, what's happening? And I quickly explained this 1, 2, 3, because everyone knew the person, the agent, his behavior.
Yes.
But I knew that I was not supposed to stoop on his level, because I know myself. But that it just gave me a wake-up call to say, I'm no longer the same person that I thought I was.
So you felt like this went on in such a way that you lost yourself in the middle of everything.
Yes.
You started becoming something that you were not.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did become someone else. I remember telling one of my colleagues to say, you know what, I've lost myself.
Yeah.
And I wanted that Tembisa so bad, but I couldn't find her.
Yeah. She was lost.
She was lost. She was lost.
Yeah, the habit desensitized you to what was wrong and also made you to drift away from your own values and personality.
Yes.
This is what we say is the moral dilemma. Anyway, Tembisa, you have stopped that. You have done things in the right way.
Yes.
Today,
Yes.
what is the difference between that Tembisa and the Tembisa of today? You still working as
No, I'm not. I'm no longer working for that company, and the Tembisa that I am today is the Tembisa that doesn't just take decisions because of I'm under pressure. I have that self-control. I have to first think about my actions and the consequences that will follow. So I don't just jump and answer or take any advice from anyone, because also what works for others, it doesn't work for, it didn't work for me. Because going back to the advice that I got from work, it worked for others, but it was not for me. So I now know how to separate right and wrong and stand on my faith.
Yes.
Because that time I didn't trust on my faith. Stand on my faith, and my yes to be a yes, my no to be a no. Yeah.
What is very important. So would you tell to our people there that this proverb has wisdom? The path of the liar is short.
It's very short, yes.
It is, yes. The path of the liar is very short. And yes, you might not get caught now, but the time will come. You will get caught if you don't change.
So do you have the understanding that maybe if you did not have that wake-up call, and if you did not change your way of dealing with the matters, you would have been caught?
Definitely, I was gonna be caught, and to me, what was important was my relationship with God. So I realized that I have prioritized my work before
God.
yes, before God, and I just said, whatever happens, let it happen. But I needed to go back to the person I was before. And for me to go back to the person I was before, I needed God's guidance.
I think it would have been embarrassing if you were caught calling yourself as a Christian. Then you were caught, it would be an embarrassment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, too much. It was going to be like, we call ourselves Christians, and
They know at the workplace.
that's what I want to say. And everyone knew in my workplace, to such a point that when I was still a sales agent, everyone, I would say everyone trusted me. Everyone would come for advice. Even my boss, she will come for advice, and I will discuss, and she trusted me. Even if she's dealing with someone that is that she can't handle, she will bring it to me and say, Tembisa, please, I know you have that spirit, just please talk to this one. I will do it. But now when I got to the other side, I lost all of that. But though people knew that I was a Christian, but it was just by name, it didn't have value anymore, because I was doing what everyone was doing.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it means it did not only impact your workplace, it impacted your faith, and it impacted your vision of yourself, because your values were gone.
Yes.
So I think it's proven that it's not worthy. But I wanted to add to that what God says about this.
Now it's time for God's point in this.
In Proverbs 12:19 we read, "The truthful lip shall be established forever, but a lying tongue is but for a moment." In perfect synchrony with the proverb, I actually think that the wisdom behind this proverb comes from the Bible. It's a promise. God is saying that the one who's truthful, who speaks the truth, no matter the consequences. We are not here saying just because you speak the truth, everything will be a bed of roses in your life. As a matter of fact, you will be put to test. But once you keep the truth in your lips, God will make a way. Above all, even if there is no way, God will provide you with another job, but what matters, you will be in peace with him because you are truthful, you are righteous. But the lying tongue will keep its makeup, deceit, camouflage for one time, for 2 times, but it won't be for a lifetime. And even if it is for a lifetime, one day we will have to set accounts of our doings in this earth. And what we'll tell God? We will try to lie to him that because of the workload, because of pressure, we had to lie. We did not behave, obeyed his instructions. And in that moment of settling accounts, not with your manager, not with your husband, not with your parents, not with authorities, but with God himself, the lying tongue will not last forever, because now we will have to face reality. There are those who might even die keeping the lie, but they will not keep the good appearance. They will not keep up their image before God, because God knows the right from wrong. He gives us the tools to do what is right, and when we don't do, we cannot tell him we did not know. Tembisa, you knew it was wrong, you changed your ways, but there are those there who did not. Toku, what it all means for today.
Now it's time for what it all means.
As the Tanzanian proverb says, the path of a liar is very short, and it is short indeed. Yes, maybe you might say, but Tembisa was never caught. That's not your case. Remember that it's not everybody who's going to be saved at the last moment, like the thief on the cross, because we know the truth as Christians. So ours will be different. So you cannot just stay there and say, I'll continue to do this because I saw that Tembisa was not caught and all that. Mm-hmm. You know, you might not even be caught, but God is watching. God sees everything that we do. People always forget that even if your boss cannot see what you are doing, but God sees that. So even though Tembisa was not caught, remember that as you call yourself a Christian, is God pleased with what you are doing? For sure, he's not pleased. And remember that shortcuts will never take you anywhere. You won't go far with shortcuts. And this, it reminded me the story of Abraham. He could have taken a shortcut when the son was asked. He could have said, I misunderstood. I thought you meant Ishmael. He would exchange and give Ishmael. Yes. But it was clear that it wasn't Ishmael that was needed there. It was Isaac. And it is clear to you as a Christian that doing things that are like what Tembisa was doing, it's not right. And Mrs. Marcia mentioned in the beginning that your case might not be like Tembisa. It can be in other areas of your life. Maybe you lie at work in order for you to be promoted. You lie in order for you to be loved by your boss. But remember that God is not happy with what you are doing. You can never call yourself a Christian if you continue doing like this. You remember she even said that it became a habit. So it became habitual. And lies, they become a habit.
I'm also remembering, Toku, that there are those who fake medical certificates.
Oh, yes. Yes.
But what they don't know is that each one of us as employees, we have a limit given by law of days we can take off on medical leave. And maybe one day they will really fall sick and they have already used that limit with lies.
Yeah.
And now they'll be in trouble because they will actually going to be sick without remuneration.
And the painful part of it, Miss Marcia, a liar, even when they want to tell the truth, they want someone to believe them. You will never believe, and it will be very painful because now you are really telling the truth. But because you are used to lie, nobody believes in you.
And you have to deal with the consequences. Yeah. Even if you are not caught, but the consequences of lying will find you on your way. Tembisa, I'm going to ask you to pray because we might have women out there who are caught in this situation.
Yes.
In this dilemma, the moral dilemma. What is the right thing to do? but the consequences may not be so pleasant. And they don't have the strength. May your prayer be the wake-up call for them today.
Okay.
Shall we pray?
Yes. My Lord and my Father, in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, I ask, my Lord, that you touch each and every woman, even men out there who are dishonest in their workplace, just to keep a job because of they feel as if just to keep their job, my Father, to feed their families. But I ask that you give them an understanding and make it clear to them that what they are doing, it is wrong before your eyes. Make them see before it is too late, my Father. Give them strength that they may see they are wrong and turn back and repent and turn back to you. I pray in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. So we come to the end of this program with our conscience light, because we did not only share wisdom from Tanzania, but that wisdom, I'm sure, it has the foundation in the Word of God and endorsed by the account of Tembisa. Now it is in your hands. Is it really worthy carrying on with a lying tongue? You have to answer to yourself and make amends in your life before it is too late. Next week, we will be back, and then changing a bit, testing another African wisdom with do's and don'ts in marriage. And we hope you join us. Until then, God bless you all. Bye-bye.
Prepare for a meeting that will transform you.
How our mind is transformed. How now we are able to prioritize what is right here in this life that will build, that will help in my journey to eternal life.
Many women seek to find their value in people and even start comparing themselves to others, becoming dependent on external and fleeting things. And they forget to prioritize what really matters.
How do we set our priorities? When we allow the Word of God to transform us.
The Self-Help Meeting is a special gathering for all women seeking personal, emotional, and spiritual development with the goal of becoming self-assured. Mark this day and time on your schedule. Saturday, 18 May at 11 a.m. Broadcast from Holy Ground, Soweto.
Laughter.
No, there is no cut. Let's go, Nami.
Classical moments.
So I'm not sure if I can answer that or my friends can do.
Humbling.
Totally drift away from my vision, from my purpose. And God was so merciful because He saw my sincerity, though I was drifting away, but He saw my sincerity.
Impactful.
To give of yourself to your child, to listen when they speak, to listen when they are talking to you, not to shut them down, not to shout at them, not to call them names, but your presence will remain with them forever, and they will appreciate the teachings that you give to them.
Eye-opening.
But values and principles do not change at all, they stay the same. And once I know that, and once I tell myself that, and I love myself because I'm not going to compromise my salvation for somebody else, then once I love myself in that way, it will be easier for me to love others.
Do you find yourself experiencing those moments while watching the Woman to Woman programs? Well, this is our gift for you. We are announcing our Woman to Woman playlist on Facebook and YouTube. Watching Made Easy, where you can go back to the shows again and relive those moments. Enjoy.